Russian and Ukrainian air defenses are on high alert after trading fire in aerial attacks, while the war produces limited results for both sides. Russia's investigative committee confirms the death of Wagner mercenary founder and leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was killed in a plane crash last week.
The post office workers on Ukraine's front line, risking their lives to keep essential deliveries going. All but the head of the Spanish women's football coaching team resign over the kissing scandal that emerged after the team's recent World Cup victory.
Russian and Ukrainian air defense systems are on high alert after both sides traded fire in aerial attacks. Moscow's forces reportedly targeted central and northern regions of Ukraine with cruise missiles. Kyiv says 4 of them were successfully intercepted by its air force. On the Russian side, the defense ministry says it took down 2 drones over the Bryansk and Kursk regions bordering Ukraine. It claims the drones were launched by Kyiv. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has published footage of what it says are Russian tankers overseeing motorized rifle units moving towards Kupiansk. This comes after British military intelligence said Russian forces might be focusing their offensive around Kupiansk and Liman to take pressure off troops in the Bakhmut and Zaporizhia regions, where Ukrainian forces have reportedly made gradual gains. So far, Kyiv's large-scale counteroffensive has resulted in limited advances since its launch in early June. Wagner mercenary group founder Yevgeny Prigozhin has been confirmed dead by Russia's investigative committee following a plane crash last Wednesday. In a statement released on Sunday, the body said they had identified all the recovered remains but did not offer any details into the cause of the accident.
В рамках уголовного дела о крушении самолета в Тверской области завершено проведение молекулярно-генетических экспертиз. По их результатам личности всех 10 погибших установлены. Они соответствуют списку, заявленному в полетном листе.
Prigozhin died 2 months after orchestrating a day-long mutiny against Moscow's military command, a move slammed by President Vladimir Putin as treason. The Kremlin cut a deal to end the short-lived uprising, allowing the 62-year-old to walk away without sanctions. The crash has raised suspicions of an assassination orchestrated by Putin, an accusation Moscow denies.
Keeping up public services on the front line in Ukraine is a dangerous business. Postal deliveries in Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region take place in armoured vans under military escort. It's too dangerous to deliver door-to-door. Anna's been a postwoman for 15 years in Bakhmut. She never imagined she'd have to wear a bulletproof vest.
У каждого свой фронт, наверное, вот сейчас. И наш такой здесь.
They make their stop-offs as brief as possible, delivering not just mail, but other essential services like pensions and even food. Residents are aware of the risks involved and are grateful.
Конечно, рады. Пищу привозят, деньги привозят, да?
With each mail visit, the number of destroyed houses in the city increases, but the number of inhabitants goes down as people flee.
Надо смелость иметь. Вообще, молодцы вообще, девчата, ну молодцы.
Не могу сказать, что мы не боимся. Нет, тоже страшно, ты тоже, боишься. Но отличаешь, вот понимаете, отличаешь, что это далеко уже, это близко, а это еще где-то. Когда близко посыпется возле тебя, то, естественно, мы на машину и уехали.
It's astonishing how far people will go to try and bring some kind of normal routine under such extreme circumstances.
Transferring migrants from the island of Lampedusa to other locations across the country is the only way to relieve pressure on the local reception centre that often gets overcrowded. This group was taken to the Sicilian town of Porto Empedocle on board a ferry after spending 24 hours on the island. Most of them are sub-Saharan migrants who fled Tunisia after a wave of racist attacks against black Africans. These 2 women are from the Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. They met here in Lampedusa.
Puisque les Tunisiens ne veulent pas nous voir là-bas. On s'en sortait plus, on n'était plus aimés, on n'était plus les bienvenus. C'est pour ça qu'on a quitté. Nous, on n'était pas déportés. C'était nos amis qui étaient déportés au désert, il y a eu des morts, tout.
J'ai décidé de partir au Burkina parce qu'il y avait la guerre, ça n'allait pas. C'est pour ça que je suis rentrée en Tunisie pour rentrer ici. Mais je n'ai pas duré en Tunisie. C'est difficile parce qu'ils n'aiment pas les Noirs.
Migrants usually have to wait to get on board until all passengers, including tourists, leave the boat.
Local people have mixed feelings about migrants arriving on the island. They told us the way these landings are now being managed by local authorities has improved compared to the early days. And if on the one hand it feels like people got used to seeing migrants arriving here, on the other they told us they're concerned about the island's reputation and about the opinion of outside visitors.
Ma c'è tanta solidarietà, devo dire che è veramente da premio Nobel per questi signori che abbiamo qua, per i lampedusani che sono qua. Però ovviamente poi quando si arriva all'estate tante volte ci sono delle disdette causa magari cattiva pubblicità e quindi ne possono trarre sicuramente svantaggio le persone che hanno delle attività.
Landings by sea date back to the early 90s. Welcoming new people is in fact part of the island's DNA. With no reception centre yet, local families used to host these migrants in their homes. Giorgio Orlandi for Euronews in Lampedusa.
Archaeologists in Serbia are hard at work excavating the Viminacium site near the town of Kostolac, where local coal miners found the remains of an ancient Roman ship earlier this month. Brushing the soil and sand off the wood, they unearthed the planks of a preserved riverboat, some 13 meters long and 3.5 meters wide. Located at the Drumno mine, 95 kilometers east of Belgrade, researchers are rushing to preserve what is left of the vessel.
Kod nas je vrlo teško naći organski materijal, pogotovo kada nije u vodi. I eto, mi smo imali tu neviđenu sreću da jednostavno na sloju gde je oranica, na 7 metara dubine nađemo potpuno očuvana plovila.
Nije pronađen u celosti, naravno oštećen je dosta, ali drvo je dobro. Drvo je u dobrom stanju, tako da izgleda odlično, zaista.
The ship has been transferred to the nearby archaeological center where further research continues.
Preneli smo ga i zakopali smo ga u pesak da se drvo ne bi osušilo, jer je drvo jedno od najdelikatnijih materijala i ukoliko se osuši, ono se raspadne. Tako da mi na ovaj način čuvamo u stvari drvo.
This latest discovery is believed to have been part of a river fleet that once served the city of Viminacium. Similar vessels have been discovered in the area and are believed to have either sunk or been abandoned. Experts say the ship may date back as far as the 3rd or 4th century AD, but are still investigating.
Poslati su uzorci prošle nedelje u laboratoriju u Mađarskoj. Za nekih 2,5 meseca mi očekujemo da dobijemo rezultate i tada više neće biti nikakve sumnje.
To fund the dig, archaeologists are hoping to secure financial support from the Serbian government. They aim to showcase their discoveries in a museum close to their research center in Kostolac. Archaeologists have been working at Viminacium since 1882, and researchers estimate that just 5% of the 450-hectare site has so far been excavated.
All but the chief of Spain's national women's football coaching staff have stepped down after the country's Football Federation president, Luis Rubiales, kissed player Jennifer Hermoso after her team's victory in the World Cup. The 11 staff members called it inappropriate. FIFA has suspended Rubiales from all football-related activity for 90 days.
Nosotros respetamos, como no puede ser de otra forma, la decisión que ha tomado la FIFA y evidentemente consideramos que viene a reforzar que la posición del Gobierno en cuanto al camino iniciado corresponde con las altas instancias del fútbol internacional. Por lo tanto, viene a reforzar y a reafirmar que el camino que el Gobierno de España comunicó ayer por la tarde es el correcto.
Rubiales faces inquiries by FIFA and the Spanish Football Federation, but can only be forced out by a legal verdict. The women's team's head coach, Jorge Vilda, remains in place despite agreeing the kiss was wrong.
After 9 days of intense competition with 49 different events, the World Athletics Championship came to an end on Sunday in Budapest. The last day of competition began with the men's marathon, with runners passing 4 times in front of the most iconic sites of the Hungarian capital. Uganda's Victor Kiplangat won the event, with Israel's Maru Teferi coming second and Ethiopia's Lul Gebrselassie finishing third. The championship kicked off on August 19th, gathering over 2,000 athletes from some 200 countries. Organizers estimate that 50,000 foreign tourists attended the events in the newly built athletic stadium, with over 1 billion television viewers tuning in worldwide. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán lauded the organization of the competition and said the country proved its ability to organize a major sporting event and hopes they will one day host the Olympics. NASA and SpaceX's Crew 7 mission arrived on Sunday at the International Space Station on board the Dragon Endurance spacecraft after a 30-hour journey. The control room at the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral handled the arrival of the new team, with the vessel docking autonomously to the orbiting laboratory. The latest arrivals represent 4 countries: the US's Jasmine Mohbeli, Japan's Satoshi Furukawa, Russia's Konstantin Borisov, and Denmark's Andreas Mogensen, who will be the future commander of the station. Welcoming them were the other 7 colleagues who have been in orbit for 6 months. The team on board the ISS now consists of 11 astronauts, 4 Americans, 4 Russians, a Dane, a Japanese, and the first Emirati in space, Sultan Al-Neyadi. Crew 7 is set to remain on board the station for 6 months, during which at least 30 scientific experiments are planned.